Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. As you can see, I'm out here with Susie. She wanted to come outside and play, so I said I better come out here with her. For you guys that are looking for a business credit card with EIN only, I would definitely tell you that considering that if you don't have no revenue in the business, you more likely are going to be using your personal credit. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have perfect credit, but you more likely will have to use your personal credit. Okay. If you had good revenue in the business, and I'll talk about some of those cards, then you may have a chance. All right. But that being said, let's talk about some of these cards. Now, one of the easier cards I always tell you guys, even if you have a 580 credit score, one of the easiest credit cards to get is the Capital One Spark Classic card, the gold card. Now, the reason I tell you that is because even if you had a Capital One personal account and that account went bad, guess what? They will not hold that against you most times when you try to apply for the Business Spark Classic card, okay? Now, one thing about it with this big merger with Capital One and Discover, there are going to be some changes. They're saying more likely it's just going to be more products they're going to add, right? However, in the meantime, if you have a 580 credit score and you need a business credit card, I would definitely tell you to look at the Capital One Spark Classic card, all right? Then another one is the A to B gas card. Now, here's the reason why I'm telling you these cards, because a lot of people are not really aware of how important it is to build up that business credit file. So that's the reason that I tell you, even before you start applying for any type of business credit card, you need to make sure you choose the right bank. All right. And so I tell you about the top 3 banks that I always would suggest you go to, and that would be Chase, Capital One, and Citibank. And the reason is because those banks, y'all have to excuse the birds, they want to get on camera too since Susie's outside playing. But those banks, they're usually going to report to Experian, Equifax. Small Business Financial Exchange is going to pick up that information, and Dun and Bradstreet is going to pick up that information. Now, for many people, they don't have no idea of how important Small Business Financial Exchange is. So with Small Business Financial Exchange, they would share that information with Experian and back and forth as well. But here's the thing about it. Like, say that you're trying to get an SBA loan, then that's when your Small Business Financial Exchange becomes relevant. Okay, so that's the reason why I continue to tell you, you want to look for cards that also would report to Small Business Financial Exchange. All right, now you do have Corpay. Okay, and so with Corpay, you need a minimum of about 600 credit score. However, they report to the major business credit bureaus. So Experian, Equifax, and Dun and Bradstreet. All right, they will do a pull on your Experian FICO 8. Now, here's the thing about it. Because it is a business credit card, you can dispute that hard inquiry on the file, okay, to remove that hard inquiry. All right. So that's one. Now, one of the simpler cards, and a lot of people make this mistake, I tell them to get the NAV business credit card, right? Because it reports to Experian Business, Equifax Business, Dun and Bradstreet. All right. So it reports to those credit bureaus. But one of the key elements to it that most people don't understand is that you can have a low credit score, right? No deposit, so you don't have to put any money up front for this here card. Now, it is a charge card. However, the thing about it that many people make the mistake of, with NAV, they may only give you, like, say a low limit. They may start you out with like $500, right? And for most people, they would pout and say, what am I gonna do with $500? And they won't use the card. Well, you're making the biggest mistake. And the reason is because that $500 card, there, if you use it and max it out, use it and pay it off, okay, it is a charge card. Now, just keep that in mind. But the thing about it is they're picking this data up and they're reporting it to the business credit bureaus, okay, as a financial account. So that's the reason why I tell you to get the NAV Prime, as well as you're going to sign up for the NAV Business Credit and Personal Credit Monitoring too. Now, with the personal credit, I also tell you guys that the personal credit monitoring, it gives you a Vantage scoring system, okay? And so with the Vantage scoring systems, that's where you would use like a BCU, Baxter Credit Union, okay? That's where that Vantage score system can be used. It's just similar to Credit Karma, right? So you can use it with Veridian. You can use it with NASA, okay? NASA Credit Union. So I know a lot of people like, where can I use my Vantage score? Those are 3 institutions that would allow you to use it. All right. So that's the reason why I'm sharing that with you. Now, going back again, signing up with NAV, they're going to give you 2 business trade lines that's going to report on your business credit file. Now, let me back up for a minute because some of you all may not be aware of this. One of the bigger things that many people do not do is when they open up their business bank account, they do not make deposits, weekly deposits. So that's the reason I tell you, you guys, like if you're like a Uber, Lyft, DoorDash type of individual, whatever, when you have a registered business and stuff like that, even if you have bad credit, right? So you know that I tell you to go to Giggle Finance when you have bad credit, right? Because they'll give you up to $5,000, long as you can show 3 to 4 months, 3 to 4 deposits per month for up to 90 days. That way you can qualify. Now, here's the thing about it. Fundo gives you up to $10,000. Now, the reason I'm telling you that, if you have a registered business, okay, you can get a loan from that company, then take some of that money and deposit it into your business bank account. The reason is your business bank rating is more important than a Dun & Bradstreet number. That's the reason I tell people a Paydex score, a Dunn's number, they're not as relevant as with your bank rating deposits and your regular business credit score. So that's the reason why I tell you guys, don't focus on Dun & Bradstreet. Now, are there accounts that help build up your business credit file? That's the reason I was telling you about NAV. All right, that's the reason why it was so important, because it is EIN only. All right, so that being said, then let's look at, if you have, let's just say you don't have no revenue in the business, but you have a at least a 700 credit score. Where would you go to get a high limit business credit card with no revenue, right? So if you're able to get into Navy Federal, then of course with Navy Federal you're going to need 2 scores, right? So they're going to look at your personal credit score, then they're going to also look at your internal score that goes from 100 up to 450, right? And so if you have multiple accounts with Navy Federal, the higher your score. So that means being able to do direct deposit. Again, for you guys that are entrepreneurs that can't show proof of direct deposits, that's the reason we created that program that give you free pay stubs and payrolls up to 4 months when you join the program. The reason is, if you're able to show and willing to show proof of income, it makes it much easier for you to qualify for funding. Now, I want to share something with you that most people are not aware. A lot of people, they would make Navy Federal their primary bank. And the reason I tell you do not make Navy Federal your primary bank, because even though you have all these deposits going in, they're not going to report those transactions to the Business Credit Bureau. So that's the reason why I tell you don't do it. However, they're very good if you have no revenue in the business, you have at least a 660 credit score and a good internal credit score. They'll give you $10, $15, $25,000, right? And the thing about it, for most people, they figure, well, this is my primary bank. That should not be your primary bank. Like I said, when you're starting as a startup and you're trying to get business credit cards and stuff, you need to make sure that you're with banks that are actually reporting your business transactions, all right? So that's something you have to think about. By the way, Navy Federal on the business side, they do pull Experian FICO 9, all right? Now, another credit card that I would definitely tell you guys to take a look at is with, Edward Jones business credit card, right? Now, the reason why you want to look at this credit card, especially if you have at least a 700 credit score, because not only do they use a FICO 9 scoring, but when you open up a Edward Jones investment account, then they usually give you a higher limit. Now, I'm talking about at least $10,000 or more starting out, all right? Now, you do have CDFIs that work with small businesses that are startups and stuff. However, they're not going to give you a whole lot of money, but because it's a community development financial institute and you're trying to get money for your startup and stuff like that, you have companies like Economic Development .org. They offer. Then you have it's called We the People. We the People, right? And there's a credit union, and then there's a CDFI that actually loans people up to $10,000 when you have challenging credit and you're trying to get funding as well. So that's giving you just some of the options. Another credit card, again, that will not reflect if you max it out on your credit file, it's the Fidelity. Fidelity has a business credit card, and again, through Elon Financial. Now, the reason, again, that I'm bringing up these here cards is because with these here cards, here's the thing about it. They give you convenience checks. So say that you know that, hey, I need $10,000, $15,000 cash to do other things or whatever. Well, with Elon Financial and you using those type of institutions to apply for a credit card through them, they'll give you those convenience checks and you can actually liquidate those checks. And usually they give you those 0% interest. And they, I think it's like 15 or 18 months of 0% interest on those cards. And they are Elon Financial type of cards, right? So that's the reason why I'm telling you that. Now, here's for you guys that just know that my credit's trashed or whatever. But you was able to qualify for like a Home Depot card. Again, depending on the amount, you can use your Home Depot card going into Home Depot and buying some toiletries and then buying some Visa gift cards. And so the thing about it with that situation is that you can't just buy Visa gift cards. Like I tell you guys, you actually have to do a real transaction so they won't freeze up your card. However, if you're trying to get a jump start on that for us getting funding and stuff, that's one way to go. Now, here's the interesting thing, like with Divvy, okay? So with Divvy, they don't focus on the credit score neither, and they'll give you a charge card. So their charge cards go from 1 week to bi-weekly or monthly, okay? And so the longer the term you're out in reference to the card or whatever, the less amount they give you. So if you know that you are able to pay a card off in 1 week or whatever, they'll give you a higher limit. Now, one of the things about it with Divvy, they did have a promotion going on. If you spend $500 on the card, then they will give you an extra $500, okay? So that's something. Now, I'll tell you some other way, and people don't think that this is important about having those deposits and stuff like that, having real pay stuff. But like with certain banks, like with Chase, Bank of America, a lot of these banks now, they're trying to get your business, right? And so what they're doing, they're willing to pay you anywhere from $300 up to $2,000 just to open a checking account with them. Like with BMO, PNC, institutions, you open up a checking account, you make a certain amount in deposit and stuff. And so after you meet that maybe 60-day requirement or 90-day requirement, they actually give you money for having a checking account with them. Now, here's the thing about it. That's a good situation. The reason is because after that 90-day period, they reevaluate your banking situation as well as your checking situation, and they may be able to give you more funding as well. All right, so I hope this video is beneficial to you. If you have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description, schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.